Hi, Gregg Bell, the News Tribune, here at Seahawks headquarters for the first day of 2021's training camp. About an 80-degree day, a perfect Seattle day yet again, as the Seahawks begin back to a somewhat normal training camp. The most remarkable thing I saw on the first day, it wasn't that there were hundreds of fans here, season ticket holders invited for the first day. First-time fans have been at a Seahawks practice since the summer of 2019, back in those pre-pandemic days. It seemed like decades and eons ago. It wasn't that Jamal Adams was here and did not practice either. Pete Carroll said that, quote, very soon he believes there'll be a new contract for their all-pro safety. What the most remarkable thing was of this day was Carroll saying that 90 of 91 players will be fully vaccinated by the first week of August. Think about that. This country, which is still less than 50% fully vaccinated, it has been so divided over this issue that has been politicized. We can go on and on about how ridiculous that whole issue has become. The Seahawks have players from Florida, 48% vaccination rate, from Texas, low 40%, from Georgia, high 30s, from Arkansas and Mississippi in the low 30% vaccination rate. Yet 90 of 91 players, 99%, 23% higher than King County, which is one of the highest rated vaccination rates in the United States. That's what Pete Carroll has pulled off here with the Seahawks. The Seahawks have also tested since coming back to training camp, reporting on Tuesday. Everyone has tested negative. The NFL says that every 2 weeks players are to be tested for COVID-19 if they're vaccinated. The Seahawks are testing for 5 consecutive days to start camp. The Seahawks are paying for that. Carroll said that they and the players came up with the idea of making sure they are tested through this Saturday to ensure no one got infected while traveling here to camp. About 45 of the 91 Seahawks come from other states to fly in to the start of training camp. And as we said, the standards of vaccinations and masking and all of that from all over the country varies wildly than it is from here in Seattle. It's remarkable. 90 out of 91 in the times we are in the country we're in right now. Carroll has been quick to credit Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, and the team leaders for the messaging and setting the example and talking to players who have been on the fence about getting vaccinated. But let's not be any more clear than to say this has been Carroll. It's been Carroll since the start of the pandemic last year when he was all over testing. He had at team expense every guest that the Seahawks players brought in. The deal he struck with the players was, tell us every guest you bring in. I mean, mothers, fathers, wives, girlfriends, uncles, significant others, people maybe somebody didn't want to know was coming in town. Everyone, be upfront about who was coming in, and we'll test them in the same system that we test you here at team headquarters. Rapid results within 12 hours, so we'll know whether the people coming to visit you had the virus, exposed to the virus or not. And that was the way to contain any potential spread and also to prevent players from visiting with people who did have the virus. It worked. The Seahawks were the only team in the NFL last year who did not have a positive case of COVID-19. Of course, they went 12-4 and won the NFC West before the Rams throttled them in the playoffs. This is a carryover to that. Carroll's crusade was first on testing, and now it's on vaccinations. And he has gotten through to his players. No more statistic in preseason, maybe the entire season, will be more important than the Seahawks being 99% vaccinated. Carroll said the one player who is not has a very personal, quote, very personal and family reason not to. He's going to live a separate life from the rest of them. The NFL's policy states that if you're not vaccinated, you can't be in the weight rooms near teammates, you can't eat in the team dining room, you have to travel differently, you have to wear a mask in team headquarters, which vaccinated players do not. Is different. And incidentally, the only player I saw among the 91 that were on the field today that had a mask on was Duane Brown. The 35-year-old left tackle did not practice. Pete Carroll said, I'm not going to talk to you about his new contract issue. He wants a new deal beyond his that ends this year. I'm not going to talk to you, the media, about that. Rest assured, the Seahawks are going to talk to Duane Brown about that after they get the Jamal Adams deal done, which again, Carroll says could be very soon. I'm not going to make a big deal out of Duane Brown not practicing on July 28th. He's 14 years in the NFL. He's been an elite left tackle for a decade. He's the best offensive lineman Seattle has. He's not practicing because he doesn't have to practice and he doesn't want to practice. in July, 6 weeks before the games get real. But oh, by the way, he doesn't have a contract yet. He wants a new one. It may be until he gets one that he stays out of practice, much like Bobby Wagner did 2 years ago in training camp before he got his $54 million deal. Other news of the day, besides Adams watching and Duane Brown watching, 2 players went on the PUP list. The top rookie, wide receiver Dwayne Eskridge, has a big toe injury he got, and Carroll said it was a weightlifting incident during the OTAs in May into June. Big toe is still bothering him. They've had a couple doctors look at it. They don't want to rush Eskridge back. They need his speed to be the third wide receiver. So they put him on the physically unable to perform list for the first days of training camp at least. Travis Homer, the third down running back, also on the PUP list. He's had a nagging leg injury through the spring that hasn't gotten any better. If you're on the PUP list to begin training camp, you can be. Those are the only ones who are allowed to be on the PUP list to start the regular season, and that buys you 6 weeks of roster exemption. So that's why you go on the PUP list now if you have any injury like that. Rashad Penny was on the field after reconstructive knee surgery he returned from in December. He was on the field today as the number 2 running back behind Chris Carson, and he looked fast and good. 225 pounds, Pete Carroll said. That was one of the more promising sights I saw in the Seahawks offense today. Aldon Smith practiced for the first time as a Seahawk. He looked in very good shape. Carroll gave him mandatory minicamp off in June, excused him from it so he continued to get on his work on his conditioning. This is yet another chance for the former first-round pick of the 49ers, former All-Pro pass rusher. He's got a arraignment hearing in Louisiana at the end of August for an alleged assault there. Carroll said he's heard nothing from the league or anywhere else about that, and that the Seahawks and Smith are focused on him winning a pass rushing job here on the defensive line. All that and more is on thenewstribune.com, including my story about the vaccination rate, 99% Seahawks fully vaccinated, and about Jamal Adams' contract situation and more online at the News Tribune and on Twitter at GBellSeattle. It's good to be back. Happy summer to you.